Hello, welcome to World News Today. Here are the top stories for now. Trump is giving the country the middle finger and GOP better understand that, Joe Walsh stated. White House restricted Trump call transcripts, US media. Government plans 40 hospital projects and the mental health services pilot in UK. Tory conference, Brexit and public spending promises as MP Smith. You were listening to the headlines, now the details. Former Illinois Republican Joe Walsh, one of three Republicans running against President Donald Trump for the GOP nomination, said Friday that the president is giving the country the middle finger by asking the Ukrainian president to look into his Democratic rival Joe Biden. Walsh argued that the GOP needs a gut check after House Democrats launched a formal impeachment inquiry against Trump over his July 25 phone call with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky, in which the president urged Zelensky to work with Rudy Giuliani about opening an investigation into Biden and his son Hunter. The call is at the center of a declassified whistleblower complaint released Thursday. If there's one issue, Brianna, that has been eating at his country for the last 3 years, is foreign interference in our election, Walsh stated. And here's the President of the United States just a couple months ago on this call. It's quite literally like he's giving his middle finger to the American people. Walsh also added, Donald Trump again acting like some sort of mob boss. He thinks everything is about him and it's not about the country. The White House has restricted access to transcripts of some of President Donald Trump's calls with foreign leaders, US media report. Democrats launched the inquiry after the transcript of a July phone call revealed that President Trump pushed Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky to investigate Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden. According to officials quoted in various U.S. media outlets, the policy of restricting access to transcripts of some of the president's calls with foreign leaders began more than a year ago. White House officials are said to have decided to act to prevent embarrassing leaks, such as when Mr. Trump's conversation with then Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull went public in 2017. Even tighter restrictions came into place after his conversation with Russia's foreign minister appeared in the news. The government has placed £13 billion for 40 hospital projects across England in the next decade at the start of the Conservative Party conference. The plans include a £2.7 billion investment for 6 hospitals over 5 years. A new approach to NHS mental health treatment is also to be trialled in 12 areas of England, with housing and job support alongside psychological help. The government says £70 million is being invested and the NHS will build more ties with charities and local councils. About 1,000 extra specialist staff will be recruited in 12 pilot sites with expertise in a range of mental health issues, the government says. The flurry of health announcements show the Tories feel they have a good story to tell on the NHS. Last year, they unveiled a 5-year funding settlement for the health service in England. The plans for mental health provide more details on where what money is going to go. It recognizes that supporting people with mental health problems is also about helping people remain in work, find work, or access benefits alongside any counseling or medication they may be taking. The investment is building the second announcement in this area in 2 months, addresses a recently neglected area of the health service. But what is still not clear is just how much is being invested overall in the coming years. Around £7 billion is being spent this year, and if that doesn't increase significantly, hospitals will argue that will struggle to catch up with the backlog in repairs and maintenance alongside building these shiny new buildings and units. Discovered and made in Britain, meanwhile, the Prime Minister has unveiled a £200 million cash injection for the UK's health and life sciences industry. The funding will be matched by £400 billion of private investment to allow science companies to expand development plans. The government hopes the investment will allow companies to raise capital to run clinical trials, employ more industrial scientists, and boost manufacturing in the UK. Boris Johnson said it was part of his vision to have a vibrant post-Brexit economy fueled by science and technology. He said the UK has the best universities in the world and we have a proud history of scientific discovery from penicillin to sequencing the human genome. But too often we let another country commercialize this discovery. I want the life-saving cancer treatments of tomorrow to say discovered and made in Britain. That means allowing enough late-stage capital to be mobilized so that these science discoveries do not have to go overseas to be commercialized. Government promises to deliver Brexit and extra cash for public services are expected as the Conservative Party conference begins in Manchester. On the opening day, ministers have said £13 billion will be spent on 40 hospitals across England in the next decade. The conference takes place amid opposition party threats to stage a no-confidence vote in the government. Boris Johnson also faces questions over his links with businesswoman Jennifer Arcuri while he was London mayor. Tory MPs could face travelling between Manchester and Westminster for crucial votes while the conference takes place. MPs returned to the House of Commons on Thursday after the Supreme Court ruled the government's suspension of Parliament was unlawful and no 10 leader failed to secure a recess for the conference. A vote of no confidence in the government aimed at replacing Boris Johnson as Prime Minister could be held next week, one senior SNP MP has said. Policy plans of the government. The government has already announced its intention to spend £13 billion on 40 hospitals projects in England during the next decade. A conference like no other, BBC's political correspondent Chris Mason said this week's gathering would be a party conference like no other. Brexit is a month away possibly, but the government could face a vote for confidence before then. As activists and MPs gather here, Parliament continues to sit at Westminster, with the potential that the opposition parties do their best to make life awkward for the Conservatives by holding their MPs 200 miles south for votes. Brexit inevitably dominates, but Boris Johnson and others will endeavour at least to broaden the conversation to set out a plethora of other policies they hope might prove appetizing to voters at a general election. And that's the end for now. Thank you for staying with us.